Hello, guys. My name is Chris Josh. I'm an author and a spiritual healer. And today I'll be talking to you about productivity and how to tackle a big goal. So, productivity is extremely important in this day and age because if you're not productive, you're not providing any value, and eventually you're going to run into some financial problems. Besides all of that, if you're procrastinating all the time and you're not getting things done, your mental state is going to suffer because deep down, you know you should be getting things done and you have regrets because you want to start projects or a passion project or a business or something along those lines. You always have these thoughts, sort of drifting away in your mind, and you never quite decide that I'm going to do this thing. So, ironically, in order to be productive, you first must be productive. And I know that sounds silly, but hear me out. According to science, an object in motion tends to remain in motion. There's also a saying that goes, if you want something to get done, give it to a busy person. So once you start getting into the habit of doing things, you build this capacity to not only do what you've been doing, but also to be able to do even more. So that's why if you want to be really productive, you first have to take baby steps and just start somewhere. Do something and add to it each and every day. A lot of the times we don't want to be productive because we have some sort of block. And this block could be a fear of success, for example, a fear of stress, a fear of not having enough time for ourselves, a fear of missing out on, finishing a video game or watching a show or a movie. So we prohibit ourselves from ever getting started because we have these fears. So knowing this, you must work on those fears. You must understand that, yes, if you do start that business, there are going to be a lot of things that need to get done, but you need to have a balance. It's not always hard work. You need to set some time for yourself to where you unwind and relax. Now, when it comes to a big goal, let's just say you want to start a business. That's a big goal, okay? You have to declare that you're going to start this business. Write it down. I'm starting this business. Okay? Your next logical question should be, where do I start? Right? Of course, you're going to have to figure out, are you going to sell a product or are you going to sell a service? You're going to do market research to figure that out, to see if there's a product out there that has demand and you'll be able to profit at the same time. One of the first steps may also be to learn how to start a business. Okay. You need to come up with a game plan, and that game plan may not be perfect from the beginning. But the great thing is, you can always update it as you go along. But start somewhere. I'll give you an example for myself where I had a major goal about 2 years ago or so, where I set out to write my first book, which is called City of Serpents. And it was a major feat for me because I had just, you know, exited a 20-year marriage. And in the process, I lost my children because they were convinced not to talk to me anymore. And I also lost a house I put a lot of money into. So I lost all the equity. I lost all of my belongings inside the house. And it was just a time where I was by myself. And here I have this big goal. I didn't want to make any excuses for myself. I asked myself, what am I going to write about? And the answer came to me. It said, write about what you've been through. So it was a memoir at the beginning. It later transitioned into a spiritual and healing and self-help book. So it's kind of like 4 books in one. And I asked myself, okay, initially it was just a memoir. How long is this book going to be? And I said, it's got to be 180 pages at least. And then I asked myself, well, how many pages am I going to write every day? So I said, I want something that's doable every day. I don't want to set a big goal because I may complete it one day and then stop doing it for weeks and perhaps even quit. So I said, I'm going to do 2 pages a day. I didn't know this back then, but 1 page in Google Docs equals 1.7 pages in a 6x9 book. So I was actually writing more than 2 pages per day. So I set out the timeline. In 90 days, I'll be done. What's the first step? Okay, I'm going to write, but what am I going to write? And I said, let me write down all the different events in my life first, all the different points I want to make, all the different pieces of wisdom I want to include in the book. So I wrote it all down in a list format. And then I said, what's the next step? So the next step was to organize that list in a logical way and start creating the outline and ultimately the chapters. And from there, I started writing 2 pages a day. And now I thought it was going to take 90 days and I thought I was going to write 180 pages. It ended up taking me more than 90 days and I ended up with 392 pages in the book. So there were days I wrote more than 2 pages. I wrote 10 pages, 5 pages. And because of that, I knew I was able to take a break on a certain day. If I said I want to take a day off today, that was fine because the prior day I wrote the equivalent of 5 days if I wrote 10 pages. And the thing is, when you're tackling a big goal, you have to be realistic about how long it's going to take to complete it. So you got to get rid of the instant gratification. Okay. In my case, I thought it was going to take 90 days. It ended up taking over a year with the proofreading, the editing, and the publishing. But it was a wonderful experience for me because I got it done. Because a lot of people start a book but don't end up finishing it. And some finish it but never publish it. And some publish it and never market it. So thankfully, I had the grit within me to finish, publish, and market it. And I market it every day. Because of that experience, I set out not too long ago, due to requests, to create a workout program. And that's available on my website, chrisjosh.com. It's called Smart Workouts. When I first set out to essentially come up with the plan, I was overwhelmed because I figured I have a shoulder workout, a back workout, biceps, triceps, chest, legs. I have abs. I have a stretching routine. So I said, I have a lot of work to do. But then I remembered my experience with the book. And I said, well, I know what to do. I'm going to do one workout per day. And I'm going to get to the gym about an hour earlier than normal. So I was heading out around 1 a.m. from my place and getting there about 1:15. And I would shoot one workout. And I was very comfortable because I told myself within a week I'll be done. And I was perfectly okay with that. If it took 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, it didn't matter because I had a plan and I left my tripod right by my front door every day so I wouldn't forget. Lo and behold, I got it done in less than a week because the last session, I ended up shooting 3 workouts. So that's how you got to go about it. And once you get one goal done, the future goals become much more manageable and less stressful. And you know you could achieve them as long as you put the consistent work day in, day out, week in, week out. Depends on the project or the goal. Like if it's something that's going to take a year, you got to put instant gratification to the side. And you have to always remind yourself every single day, What do I have to do today? You should know already. You should know before you go to bed the night before, and you have to hold yourself accountable. The thing is, these blocks we have within us, they can be broken simply by doing. The more we do, the better we feel, the more addicted we become to doing things. And this is to the men out there. When you're doing things, you're in your masculine energy. If you look all around you, everything was built by men, by masculine men. Masculine doesn't necessarily mean you're a macho man, you're, ready to, maul another human being. It means you get things done. And if you just sit around doing nothing, waiting for things to happen, that's essentially feminine energy. And there is a place for that for men. Sometimes you need to know when to fall back and let things come to you. But as a man, I would say you have to be at least 60% in your masculine energy, at least. I'm personally more than 80% easily. Okay. So use that as an incentive to get productive. Are you a man or not? Because if you're a man, you're meant to do things. Now, let's talk about why you should be productive and add value to the world so you could be compensated. Think about your retirement. Let's say when you're 65, how much money do you need every month if you want to retire and not work? Let's imagine you're 65 today. How much money do you need every month? Let's say you own the house, you don't have a mortgage, but you have property taxes. You have home insurance. You have your cell phone. You have your gas, your home gas and electric. You have your, if you have a car, you have gas, you have auto insurance, you have maintenance in the house. You have these outrageous prices at the supermarket, on and on and on. How much would you need every month? I don't think you can even get away with 3,000 a month these days. So that means at 65, let's say hopefully you live till 95, that's 30 years or 360 months. Multiply that by 3,000. That's how much money you should have saved by the time you were 65 if you want to retire. If you say, oh, well, I'm not going to retire, I'll keep working. Who's going to hire someone who's 80 years old, 90 years old? There aren't that many places or jobs that will hire someone of that age, just due to the nature of the position. So you really need to get in the habit of doing. When you procrastinate, you feel low on energy, you don't feel fulfilled, you feel like crap no matter what you tell yourself. But once you get into the habit of doing, you start feeling fulfilled, accomplished, you are proud of yourself, you're happy, you're in a good mood. Because the difference between being alive and being dead is that being alive, you're moving. Your internal mechanisms are moving, as opposed to someone who's dead, nothing is moving. So that should tell you you have to be moving too, not just your internal mechanisms. You yourself have to be busy, but not to the point where you're stressing yourself out. Know when to take breaks, know when to do. I like to work for an hour, then take a 5-10 minute break, then get back and work an hour. I have that luxury because I work for myself and I work from home. And I found that to work very good for me. You may be able to do more hours with less breaks. Find what works for you. And this last tip I'm going to leave you with, get things done as early as possible. Now, today I'll give you an example. I got up at 2:30 in the morning. Typically, I get up around that time, 2, 1:30, and I like to head out to the gym early. Today, I decided I was going to do a little bit of work before I headed out to the gym. So I had some book orders, I had some changes I needed to make to my website. I had some other things that I'm currently working on. I devoted some time to those things. And it felt so relieving because I knew once I came back from the gym, I did a lot already and there was no pressure of having to get things done ASAP. So get things done early if possible, because that's going to get the ball rolling and put you in the mood of doing things. And it's going to take off the pressure from knowing you have this big to do list. So, again, you don't want to be so productive that you look like a chicken with its head cut off and you're running around frantic and crazy. You want to find that balance. Anyways, guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and hit that bell so you can get notified when I upload a new video. And don't forget to like. Take care. Peace out.